Yo, what's up? This is Shadow Rock and ProfoWon of the Floor Gangs and Knuckleneck Tribe, and you're watching The Trades, a show about breaking, hip hop, and the business of. Yes, I'm a little bit late. I'm about 30 minutes late. Sorry about that. I was talking to my man Carl Pelly, giving a lot of good advice for different things for the future plans. First of all, I want to say it's been a while since I've been on live as far as the trades. Usually, the last time you checked, I was doing a podcast called the I Am Niche podcast. You can find it here. I try to go on at least once a month or maybe twice a month for the I Am Niche podcast. But again, we're dealing with the trades. The trades. It's been an eventful weekend here for breaking. We just had the World Games, and yo, all I gotta say is the U.S. basically was able to make silver and gold. For the women, it was silver. Congrats to Sunny. And for the men's division, there was silver, which was Jeffro from Rad, MZK, and of course Vicious Victor from Florida. He got the gold, right? And he battled in the finals. We will be reacting to that in GEARHDZ 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right on that channel. Myself and JASOUL, High State Rocker. You can follow him over here, and you can see that the reaction and interview Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And before I go into the subject, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, which is Zen World CBD, and you could get 10% off with the promo code ProfoWon. The thing about CBD is that it helps with inflammation, and it's good for basically recovery. And you can see all that type of stuff as far as how I use it on my Instagram, PROFO_FLGZ. On Instagram, you can see me actually using some of the stuff. And basically, just turning 47, I need a lot of stuff as far as recovery, right? Because it takes me longer to recover. And again, works for inflammation, which causes a lot of the problems that we have in as far as health is inflammation, right? So use CBD for use Zen World CBD. They got the roll-on, they got the nano drops. You can just put in your drink. The roll-on works like an icy hot, but this time it has CBD, so it has very good healing properties. So again, check them out on my Instagram. Check them out on their website. And before I move on just to do some housekeeping, 65% of you are not subscribed. You are watching my content, and thank you very much for that. But how you can help me keep creating content is you like and subscribe. That way I could get to 1,000 and become a partner. And once we could do that, some of the plans are, like, for instance, when I have the option of super chats, I can actually have live battles, and those super chats could go to the winner. Shout out to my man, Ray Guns. We did Break Battle Royale in IG a few years ago, but the problem is we can never pay anyone out. If I get super chat option with your help by actually just subscribing, then we could actually have the funds go to a competitor. You know what I mean? Whoever wins, and do something different in the scene, which we haven't seen that. So again, 65% of you are not subscribed, but you're watching. So click the bell for notifications and subscribe. That's all I gotta say about that. Now back to the subject again. An eventful weekend. We had the World Games, and this is very big because what happened this weekend was Nike basically helped sponsor some of the athletes there. As far as the U.S. and Morris, Levix, Jeffro, Sunny, and Vic. And this is I think, to me, this is my first awareness of Nike in the U.S. supporting something in breaking. That's a big thing. The other thing was that it was sold out. It was a sold out crowd. You know, for all the sports there, breaking was one of the events that was sold out. That says a lot. So for Nike to see that, and at the same time, USA ranking so high as far as in the men's division, at least gold and silver, and in the women's division, silver. That's more of a demonstration in America that, you know, that it's possible that we can have a big audience here in America. I'm not worried about overseas, even though the Olympics, the 2024 Olympics is in Paris. They already have a big fan base in Paris. But for the USA, man, that's saying something. And for Nike to see that, that says a lot. That opens up a lot of possibilities. It's a good year for breaking, right? 2021 is a good year for breaking. Before I move on, a shout out to the chat. What up, Marcus? What's going on? So here's the thing. So now I'm going to bring up basically the whole situation of, at first, it's funny because at first I was open, like when I first promoted the show, I was going to react to kind of like what's on stance, right? Like I was going to react to the freestyle session Europe finals, and like and then I was asking people in my IG basically what should I react to, you know, like what battle should I look at, you know what I mean? And then I didn't, okay, so I saw the Breaking for Gold IG and I was like watching a little bit. I didn't want to watch too much because I knew that me and JASOUL were going to react to it on GEARHDZ. Again, you can follow GEARHDZ on the GEARHDZ Breakcast on Instagram. Well, anyway, I keep plugging. So I was watching it and I was kind of like, well, this is big. I wasn't really watching the battles, but I was actually watching the audience, because this audience in Alabama, that's where the World Games was, a lot of them I knew weren't breaking fans, but I think a lot of them were curious what it was going to look like in the 2024 Olympics. And the reaction was great. And it did help that, you know, basically USA won, right? USA got gold, right? And silver, but USA got gold. So it's kind of like, oh, shoot. You know, it's telling the audience in Alabama, like, whoa, we are actually really good at this. You know, for those who don't know the history, we're actually really good at this. We actually have a chance to win gold in the world, like the actual official Olympics. So this is just kind of a teaser. And again, Nike being a part of it, you know, it's not just about the money, but it's just like it's an achievement, because it's kind of like, whoa, this is cool. If you've never seen it, that's just like me. And I didn't know that we were like, you know, I was at the Iron Chef and I didn't know that the best chefs were from America. And I'm watching, I'm like, oh shit, hell yeah. Now I'm interested in, you know, these chefs. Same thing. It created interest. So that made me shape like, okay, so I got to change this podcast, this episode. And that's the thing. I was late because, like, you know, I was shout out to Carl. He's one of the coaches for the U.S. Olympics. And he was like, we were just talking about it. And he was just giving me a lot of ideas and different things and things in the work. And I was just like, I was captivated by his conversation. So I apologize for being so late. You guys know that I'm on time. You know what I mean? But I was just like, yo, I had to kind of hear what he had to say, because he was like talking to everyone, because he wasn't present at the World Games. But being, you know, the Breaking for Gold coach, he needed to kind of give advice and, you know, see and catch up. So he was catching up all that stuff with me. So I thought that was, you know, thanks Carl for sharing and, you know, giving a lot of ideas and stuff like that. So that being said, it was kind of like, all right, like, so I'm going to change the content a little bit. I'm going to change what the goals are for this podcast. And I was kind of like, okay. So it made me think, all right, so everyone knows. So this is more for the insiders out there. These aren't for the practitioners out there. This episode is not so much for the general public. This is for the people that actually practice breaking. And to have you guys and girls look at what is the general audience seeing, right? The direction of competition being in this that is going to be a bigger platform. That's just what it is, right? What is the audience seeing without knowing the vocabulary, without knowing the science of breaking, without knowing the history of breaking? What are they seeing? Why are they cheering, right? If they don't know like the inside of what certain footwork styles or styles are. So on my Instagram, I basically put three things, which is stage presence. So let's take out the musicality and all that type of stuff for right now. It's stage presence, body mechanics, and composition. Those are the three things that's the subconscious language that's going on in breaking. Take away the dogmatic, cultural stuff. So I'm going to break down basically a B-boy or B-girl with each thing. Because here's the thing about B-boys and B-girls. It's just like top rock, footwork, power moves, and freezes. Who's good at all of them? Not one practitioner has everything. As far as in the culture of breaking, not everyone has everything. There are some people that have a little bit of both, but all four, or if we add power moves as dynamics, all three, not everyone. Same thing as far as the subconscious language of breaking. Not everyone has stage presence. Not everyone has good body mechanics, and not everyone has good composition. And now here's the thing. Here's the main thing about some people have both. Some people have good presence and good composition, but they don't got good body mechanics. Some people got good composition and body mechanics, but they don't have good presentation. So the whole of this video is kind of to demonstrate the B-boys or B-girls who have this. So I'm actually going to start with body mechanics. Body mechanics are kind of the easiest thing that we can see clearly, right? I would say that a lot of power move based B-boys and B-girls understand this to the max as far as power, right? Because to have good and clean power means that you can transition from one movement to the next. You have to have clean windmills to set off the centrifugal force to go into your flare, to go into your 90, to go into your head spin. This body mechanics is very important and the most clearest. And I feel like power move B-boys and B-girls kind of concentrate more on, and their value is on body mechanics, right? I mean, this goes for footwork too, but this is the most clearest. And maybe physically the most difficult is the body mechanics for power moves. But what I'm going to show right now is more of a mixture of that. We'll get into composition later. But just the all-around body mechanics. Who has good body mechanics? I would say my man Stripes. I think Stripes has very good body mechanics. So what we're going to watch right now is hailing from Jacksonville, Florida. We got my man, representing. We got my man Stripes. So we're going to watch Stripes right now. So this is Stripes in Europe right now. So if you look at his form, look at his backspin. So what I want everyone to kind of pay attention to is his body movement, his weight transferring, and his balance and timing. So here's the thing about Stripes is that he's on his balls of his feet, big toes. He's fully stretched out and engaged. And his rhythm and coordination is almost perfect. So I bring up Stripes as far as body mechanics because this is the clearest of what people see, right? If they don't know what footwork is, they don't know what head spins are, or 90s, or floats, or body glides. When you see someone like Stripes, the languages are the lines. How he's picking everything up, how he looks light, right? You can tell by his footwork too, right? And we're going to go into composition in a bit, but then we just watch how he's transferring his weight from arm to arm or back or contact points as that was a dope phrase too. As my man JASOUL from GEARHDZ would say, like, you know, contact points. Like he's light, he's using his core, he's using his obliques, he's using his lats. You know, he has a good balance of static holds and his twitch muscle fibers firing, right? So to me, he's a very good example of body mechanics. All right, we're gonna stop right there. And that, again, so body mechanics is a language that we all know. You know, is a language we all know. This is not, and okay, so when I talk about style, when I talk about composition, that's arrangement of things. But right now, we're just going to touch on body mechanics for a little bit. And body mechanics is probably physically the hardest to do, right? Because not everyone, you know, is athletically talented. This is the most thing of athletics is body mechanics, right? You know, because it's your coordination, it's your proprioception, it's your mobility. You know, this is the hardest to physically achieve, and some people are built differently. Everyone has different body types, but here's the thing: with repetition and working over and over and over again, with the right training, you can develop it. Again, because of body types, is going to be different for different people. But there is a formula. There is a way. You know, if you're not flexible, you can get flexibility. If you're not strong enough, through repetition, you can get strong. Through mobility, you know, you can open up certain parts in the myofascium, the joints, and that could all be worked in. Now, depending on if you're athletically talented, you know, you can get there faster than others. But there is like this, you know, there's this thing, there's this way where you can go A, B, and C and get to, you know, to your result. That's a little bit easier. And as far as theory, the work varies from person to person, but there is a formula to do that. Just like if I want to lose weight, I do this. If I want to gain weight, I do this. So the whole thing about body mechanics is like, if you know how, like, and this is where I got to give up to BTR Breakin, JASOUL. He understands the kinetic chain and how to develop these things, right? Like there's a formula, so we can actually do it. It's going to take time. It's going to take a few people to do whatever, but it can be done. You know what I'm saying? It can be done. So I wanted to bring up stripes for body mechanics, right? Now, the next part, that's a little bit more difficult to explain. A little bit, now we're getting a little bit more inside baseball, and that is composition. So what do I mean by that? So for instance, footwork, and let's just take a basic move like 6-step, footwork pattern. That wasn't just created out of thin air. That was, taking the coffee grinder sweep and expanding on that concept, and then building the composition with good body mechanics to actual movement and pattern. So the whole thing is how to create that is your arrangement of different movements within your body mechanics. Now, why I say it's a little bit harder, because it's kind of like creating a song, right? To create a song out of thin air is not as easy as, we think it is. We have to actually understand what direction we want to go with. And that takes perspective. That takes like, okay, what do I want to do with the 6-step, right? You're going to be taught the basics. Then after that, it's creating the different combinations. Do I put CC here? Do I put a hook here? Do I add another coffee grinder sweep here? Do I go up and down? So now that takes a little bit more of thought, right? It takes a little bit of thought of arranging, just like creating a song. Now, what about freestyle? I'll get to that. I'll get to freestyle. But right now, what we're talking about is like, you don't do day one, all of a sudden you become this great composer in movement. Nah, that takes time. That takes taste. That takes, how do I arrange it? How do I feel and make it? How do I arrange myself in this feeling? Or how do I arrange it because structurally this is dope and this is a dope transition to this and this and this. You know what I mean? That takes the body mechanics, but it takes a different mind. It takes like an artist mind to have composition. Now let's go back to the body mechanics as far as power moves, right? Let's say you're excellent at and athletically and kinesthetic intelligence. You can do everything. You're only limited to, you know, certain moves: flare, windmill, 90, halo, headspin. You know, but your arrangement of it is where you get creative with it. Do you understand? I'll take power moves. So let's say, okay, flare, 90, halo, windmill, headspin. That's been done. There's nothing creative about it. That's an arrangement, but that's an arrangement that someone has done already. So the whole thing about composition is creating your style. Well, how do I do it different? That's where it's like, well, my composition, my arrangement. Let's take that combination I said: flare, 90, windmill, halo, headspin. All right, can I do that with one hand? Now that's flipping the arrangement. Okay, can I do a flare with one hand to a 90 with the other hand? I don't know. Let's see if I'm athletically talented, I could do that. Now, can I do a halo with one hand? Set off the halo with one hand. And when I drill the headspin, use no hands. See what I'm saying? This is where you're starting to use creativity and composition. And that's just power moves. And that's like very like, the thing is, the challenge is how do I do that with centrifugal force and gravity fighting against me, right? But with smaller movements, it's a little bit easier. So what I want to refer to is someone with, to me, one of the best guys that have composition. To me, someone with good composition is another guy from Florida. And even he calls his workshops the art of storytelling. And that person is from the Flipside Kings, fellow 40-year-old, filthy 40-year-old. We got my man, Keyboard Lego. Let's do that for copyright's sake. I don't want to get striked or copyright claim. So this is Lego from 2003. Different clips. Okay, I'm gonna shut down the music and I'm gonna talk while he's going down because I'm suspicious of copyright claim. So it's the way. Wow, this is 2004, man, crazy, or 2005. King of the Ring in Toronto, crazy. One like before, well, not before BC1, but Red Bull was in. This basically turned into BC1. This is prior to BC1. But look at the way. So the thing is, okay, he's not as improv and freestyle. Everything is planned out. But the concept of economy of movement is there. That's what's great about Lego. It's the concept of putting moves together, left to right, right to left, when to stall, when to do this, when to do that, and then catch and do this and do that. It's like a song, right? We're talking Beethoven here, right? We're talking Mozart. And the fact that he calls it the art of storytelling. If I want to say he's doing bars, he's putting, like, there's no wasted movement. Everything is coming together one at a time, piece by piece. And to memorize this and to have like 20 rounds like this is a feat. Some people don't value it. They're like, oh, it's not raw enough. It's not freestyle. It's not connected to the music. But yo, aesthetically, it looks good put together. Like, look, I'm not even playing music right now. And it looks like there's no steps wasted. Nothing is wasted. Everything connects to the next movement, to the next movement, to the next movement. Like he does, you know, windmill, airflow, windmill. Air. Compared to what he was doing, that was basic, right? Like when he's in this power thing, it's cool, it's dope, it's dynamic, but it looks basic. Like you've seen it before. But when he's doing his rounds, when he's doing his sets, you know, that's where it's like this stuff. Boom. Or no, he's still doing power here. Let's go back though. Oh, when he's doing this stuff, back to back to back to back. It's like multiple combinations coming from like straight, hook, body blow, uppercut, all in like consecutive order. And it doesn't stop. It's like a barrage of movement. Left, right, left, right. Boom, go here, go there, boom, boom, boom. Nothing is wasted. Now here's the argument, right? The argument is like, well, it's not freestyle, it's not dancing. Well, I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking about composition. We have to value it. You have to, you know, For some people that don't value it, find the value in it. I find the value in musicality. I find the value in dancing. This is 99, by the way. This is 2000. Roast the most. Oh my God, that was dope. So the whole thing is, you know, we have to understand the value. So when someone, okay, so this is when the general public sees this. General public is not into composition as much, right? Because now we're talking, when we talk of composition, we're talking about stuntman composition. We're talking about people with original styles. That's composition, the way they put stuff together, right? But this is what the people see. They don't know what they're looking at. They don't know they're looking at some type of intelligence, right? They're looking at some type of intricacy, right? They don't know what's coming next, right? And that's the whole thing about composition. You can create that, right? This is where you really have to, like, you know, and not everyone values this because it's not the blow up stuff, but this is something to be valued, is composition. All right, we're gonna stop Nico for a second. All right, so that's the whole thing. You know, when it comes to footwork, when it comes to power moves, when it comes to back rocks, when it comes to any of these things, composition is important, right? Composition, you can only have composition with context to what you're trying to express. These are learned things, right? That's learning the vocabulary, and then how do I, it's like, okay, so if I take, like, let's take an MC, a battle MC, or even like any MC, right? Any rapper. That we are using the English language, which is the foundation, the English language. And then we're going, how do I make rhymes and words put together? And that's a bar. So when you use that expression, like bars, you said something crazy. That's bars. So composition is that. Can you create bars for people to react to? And usually if you speak the language of breaking, it's easier to see that versus if you're like a general spectator. You won't see as much if you're a general spectator. But if you are a practitioner, you could see it. Like, whoa, where did that come from? You know, and he might be doing something simple, but where did that come from? I never thought of that. You know, you're sparking creativity, you're sparking imagination. And obviously it helps with good body mechanics, but actually you don't even have to have necessarily the best body mechanics. The body mechanics are going to translate those movements better. You can have actually not so good body mechanics and still kind of like have a certain rhythm and put it together. It might not translate so much, but there'll be something, like there'll be an idea that someone has that has good body mechanics and be like, oh, that's a guy, I'm gonna bite that. I'm gonna copy that and make it better. So that's like usually the value in people that like composition. You know, the people that value composition always want to be inspired by a small movement. Usually a small movement that sparks up an idea. So the guys that like to create in this way, they like the audience not to like, yes, cheer for something super dynamic, but like make people go, oh, I like that. They want the head nod reaction versus like, yes, yes. They want that, okay, I got an idea. You know, this translates more in a cipher more than the stage, because in a cipher you're like, you know, in a circle you're more like, it's more intimate. You could feel the energy. You know, you could hear the music, and you could then you're sparking ideas right then and there. It's like, oh, I have something like that. Let me go down now. You know what I mean? So that composition is very important that we don't talk about. You know, or actually we didn't label, we didn't codify what people just say that's style. Oh, he has a dope style. What they're really saying is that person has a dope composition. I like the way that he put this together. You know what I mean? I like how we put that round together. But you're like, wait a second, but what about the music? What about dancing? What about, wait, hold on. We're still talking about composition. You know what I mean? Because without composition, we can't talk about the freestyle stuff. You know, we need to understand composition, because 6-step is composition. It's 6 movements put together in sitting position, right? That's composition. That's creating, that's like, you start with that. That's your basics. Then you create from there. You can't do it without the 6-step, or at least the very least the sweep. Can't do it with a coffee grinder sweep. That becomes something else. This is breaking. So there's certain foundational movements, and this is what This is what Tim Ferriss was talking about. There's certain foundational movements that's from that, but then we can expand from it. But we can't expand without the basics. And that is composition. 6-step is composition. 3-step is composition. Sweeps are composition. Hooks are composition. You know, footwork patterns that you create that become part of the language is a composition that someone came up with and gave to the community. And that's what I'm talking. And then you expand from that, because you can't expand it without understanding the composition. So now, you know, we could talk about the other stuff, but I want to be very in depth about what composition is, right? Okay. Now, and this is what the general public is looking at. They don't know what they're looking at. They just know they're looking at something crazy. And if you have good body mechanics, then that's the thing that, like, you know, you're like, oh shoot, that composition looks even clearer with good body mechanics, right? If you're like, let's say, out of shape, it's gonna be harder to translate. All right. Okay. So now we're going to go to what everyone's going to talk about. We're like, what about freestyle? What about musicality? What about, you know, the flavor? That's what they say. Flavor. You got style, flavor. We already covered style. Style is composition, right? We're breaking. That's a style of dancing. So that's the way they compose. You compose it together. That's composition. But when we're talking about presentation is something else. Presentation is like, you know, okay. So in theater, specifically theater, not necessarily acting in TV and movies. Acting in TV and movies, you know, there's a camera, and depending on the director, what he wants to express through the actor, he's going to tell him, I need you to act like this, and it might be quiet, and you're in a room quiet by yourself. You don't necessarily have to project your energy out there. You don't have to project your stage presence out there. But if you're in theater, depending on the audience and the acoustics, you have to project your voice. Theater acting is different from television and film acting. You have to make the person, if you're acting on stage, you have to make the person in row 50, you have to emote so much emotion that the person in the back of the theater can feel your emotion. You have to speak, if, like, let's say if it's a traditional theater without the mics and they want to go old school, some theater people go old school without the mics hooked up and sound system, and they're relying on natural acoustics. You have to project your voice. You know, that's why with a lot of people that, you know, study theater acting, when they do, like, you know, Shakespeare's like, doth thou, they're pronouncing all their words and doing all this because they're working on their stage presence. So another thing in breaking, because breaking is not just in the camera on IG or TikTok, it's in person when you're competing. Even if I'm watching it, when you're competing, you're projecting your presence to your opponent and to the audience and to the judges. Perfect person who is very good at presence is my man from Sacramento, California, Machine. So we're gonna play a little bit of Machine. Okay. So look at that. So him just standing there, even though it's not copyright. So, you know, again, we're gonna do visual. So these little movements, his little pauses, his like, yo, I'm gonna go past you. These are all stage things. It's not necessarily his composition, which is still dope, but it's his attitude of burns, humiliation, how he makes the crowd react. He's feeling it and reacting to the crowd and music. So this is the freestyle part. Knowing the music. Some people used to call this just that. Look, okay, look what he just did. He just literally stood there. but he's reacting to the crowd. He's reacting to the music. He's feeding off of it and expressing his presence while doing these little movements. He's not flying in the air. He's not flipping. He just stood there. But he connected to the music, which basically expressed his feeling into the audience, and people felt that vibration. Machine is a master at this. Master of presentation. Let's just watch this one now. His look. Simple stuff. But how he's connecting and emoting using hand gestures. And of course, that's his flips and stuff like that. But using his hand gestures, he's connecting to the music. What people don't know about musicality is the connection to the audience. Am I emoting to the audience and not going, hey guys, what's up? No, you're in your own world and you're pulling people into your world. That's what Machine is really good at. Let's watch another clip. You know, this is JASOUL case. Just his connection to music, but connection to people. And the thing is, he's doing simple things. Simple movements that anyone could do, but it's the way he's doing it. There's something about him. The way he's doing it is like what no one else could do. How come? How does he bring his personality, his presence, his character onto this floor, into this venue? This is what Machine's a master of. He's a master of this. You know, it's not just the moves. He's a master of just pulling you into his world. You know what I mean? And then, okay, now I'm going to get into the big circle of it, going back to the beginning. With good body mechanics, with good composition, and this is what crowds are seeing. They don't know that they're seeing it. They're just seeing it. They don't know. They're unaware. They're like, there's something about this person that's pulling me in, and it's making me feel a certain way. That's the whole thing that not a lot of B-boys and B-girls have. Not a lot of B-boys and B-girls have all three, right? Which is a stage presence, good body mechanics, and good composition. Now there's this. Let me do this. There's people with good presentation and good composition. You know, these people tend to do more footwork battles, right? Because maybe they're missing some of the body mechanics for power moves, right? But they have good presentation, good composition. Now take away the presentation. There's people definitely, I say the majority of B-boys and B-girls are here. They have good body mechanics and good composition. These are the things that really like speak to a B-boy or B-girl really. This is the inside baseball stuff right here. This is the stuff that like not everyone on the planet are going to understand this. They're going to understand presentation, right? If you have this with if I take away everything and just leave presentation, that's what people understand the most, right? Next to the body mechanics, right? Is the presentation. I like the way he looked at that person, right? This is the ultimate, and honestly, presentation is the hardest to teach and the hardest to train. That's the hardest. Because how do you teach that? How do you teach yourself? How do you teach someone to be a dynamic personality? Because that stage presence works with when you're in a meeting and you're doing a pitch meeting and you're doing a presentation in front of people and you're not shy and you're getting eye contact and your chest is out and you're showing basically comfortability in talking and interacting with people, right? So that stage presence works for meetings, it works for holding court, it works for singing, right? So this is a very universal thing because it emotes, it emotes emotion. Hardest thing to teach, right? Hardest thing to teach is stage presence, right? And then you have people with both. And like I said, these guys or girls usually are good at footwork battles, right? They're good at, Machine is good at all three, but he's limited in certain body mechanics, right? Like for instance, certain movements as far as dynamic movements, like, or he doesn't use them so much, but you know, the guy who's the most well-rounded that doesn't, the closest was like Storm and Kevo, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, who has everything, where like there's equal attention to all of it. Like Machine triples down on his stage presence and his composition. That's the main thing. That's what Machine's like excels at, because he could do the most simple and then get a reaction, an emotional reaction from the crowd. Storm is a little bit opposite. You know, Storm is really good at the, you know, he works on presentation. I'm not taking away, but that's not necessarily his strength. You know what I mean? His technical ability and his body mechanics is excellent. His composition is excellent. You know, but if I were to compare Machine and Storm in the same room and have them talk, the more outspoken person is going to be Machine, because he's a more animated person, right? Which is stage presence. While Storm's he's animated, but not as that. Like if they were both in the room, I'm going to hear Machine and see Machine more, just because of the sheer fact he's like a vacuum. He gets sucked in. He sucks in everyone by his sheer presence. Can that be taught? Yeah, stage presence could be taught. That's what they do in the theater. You know what I mean? They teach you how to, you know, have stage presence, right? And that's where it's like, that's why it's hard, because it's a different craft, but it's a similar craft because you're still on that stage. So are there people that could do all of it? Very rare. There are people that have all three, yeah, but then some are going to outshine more. Like I could kind of do all three, but I'm not the best at all three. Like I'm that guy that has stage presence and composition. Like, but like, you know, I can barely, like my bridges are, I'm still working on my bridges, like, you know, stuff, the body mechanics stuff that I need to work on. So I triple down on, so the whole thing with training, my training triples down on my weaknesses, which is my body mechanics. I don't really train on my composition. I don't have to. I understand composition. I don't have to train my stage presence because I know how to do it. Right? I'm literally on the screen with you talking. That's stage presence, right? Even though it's a camera, like you see me emote, you see my cadence, you see me emote emotion and even cadence in my voice. So there you go. That's presence. So I tripled down on my body mechanics because that's the weakest. And being 47, it's even harder because my recovery is longer. It takes longer to recover. So all I'm saying is that we all have things to work on, but these are the things that the people, general audience, if you're not a B-boy or B-girl, this is what you're seeing. You just can't describe it. You know, I'm just, you know, and then what does this have to do with competition? Because most of the people that are going to be watching, that are the new fans, are going to be the general public that don't know the vocabulary, that don't know. This is the language they're seeing. They just can't describe it. They can't codify it. They can't, you know, define it. They just say, oh, that was excellent. That's all they could say. Wow, that was great. They don't know what they saw. What they were seeing was this body mechanics. What they were seeing was this stage presentation. What they were seeing was this composition. Even though they didn't know all the vocabulary, it still wowed them. It was amazing to see. They just don't know how to describe it. You know, that's why there's commentary. Hit. That's why there's commentary to help the audience with the vocabulary, to help them understand the technicalities of this composition, because they already know everything else. Commentary is there for the composition, to understand the context of the style and the composition, and where it's from, and you know who did what first. That's for commentators too. The audience knows when you do a flip, when you stick a freeze. That's body mechanics going, oh shit, they stuck it. And stage presence again, you know, that's the most thing that's universal in performance. That's the most universal thing. If you're Prince, Michael Jackson, Kenny G, Michael Bolton, you know, Green Day, you still have to have stage presence. No one's going to watch your show if you're not giving a good show. They're already there for the music. They can listen to the music at the radio or on a streaming service. But they're there to watch your stage presence. With that, it's connected with the music that they already love. You know what I mean? They want to experience your stage presence. They want to feel you. So it's the same thing. So my suggestion to the practitioners out there is learn these things. And as you compete or perform or whatever your desire is, ask, what am I lacking? Am I lacking? So that's where the truth comes. You can't be like, my style's the best. Composition. Okay, your composition is the best. Do you have better body mechanics to express that composition? Do you have good stage presentation to present it to people where it's palatable, where they like you? You have a likable energy about you. You have a likable presence about you. Have you worked on that? Or are you sitting like, my composition is the best? My composition is the best, man. You can't see it, will trick you. Like, nah, you need to open up. In general audience speaking. If you're just dancing for yourself, then none of this matters. What I'm saying, none of it matters if you're dancing for self. But if you're dancing to compete, right? You're dancing to compete, then you need this. If you're dancing to perform, you need to learn presence. You know what I mean? You need body mechanics. So it applies not just for battle, it applies for performance art too. Composition, body mechanics, stage presence. And this is where, you know, we're not getting creative, we're not getting technical as far as movement, but we're getting technical as far as what the subconscious sees. Because I might not know like certain colors out there that artists do, like say you're a painter, but I can look at it and go, look, that looks beautiful. You know, you created a good piece of art there. Again, composition. You know, so this is going to be a little bit of a short one. Again, I apologize for being late, but again, got to give a shout out to Carl. We're going to have him on the podcast, the GEARHDZ podcast, right here, the GEARHDZ podcast. Eventually, right? That's again every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can follow us on Instagram at GEARHDZ BREAKCAST, where you could see all the stuff like as far as like posts about like, you know, the latest things that are happening in breaking, some highlights from the GEARHDZ BREAKCAST, you know what I mean? And that's with my man JASOUL, I Stay Rocker. Give him a follow. And yeah, we're gonna this Thursday on GEARHDZ, we're gonna talk about and react to the World Games that happened in Alabama. You know, we're gonna commentate and react to that. That should be really dope. Check that out. And again, if you've been watching, I have other episodes where I talk to Issei, I talk to Remind, I talk to Lino, I talk to Ken Swift. You know, you can find that on this channel right here. And remember, 65% of you are not subscribed. You know, you watch my content. You know, if you want to see me level up and actually like, you know, put it in competitions, you know, online where I can actually pay out people that compete. You know, I can't do that without 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 views, so that way I can receive super chats. So when I do break Battle Royale again, because it will happen, shout out to Ray Guns, we can pay them out, and it'll be a dope time. Because then, I mean, I don't think anyone's doing that right now, and no one's putting in and then all of a sudden winning money online, right? Everything's just like kind of like still where you guys get to judge and comment, and it's super interactive and it's fun. When we did it on IG, on Instagram, it was fun. The problem is we couldn't pay anyone out, and I felt bad, right? And I didn't have enough, even though I have like, you know, almost 10K on my IG, I still didn't have a badge to like pay people out where they could pay. So again, you can follow me at ProfoWon IG. And before we sign out, let me grab something real quick because I didn't get it ready. Oh, whoops. I'm going to pull out the Nano Drops by Zen World. Right here. CBD. Again, for CBD is non-psychoactive. So basically I could take this and feel normal. Actually helps with inflammation. Helps with anxiety, helps you sleep. I'm going to take a drop right now. And you can use 10% off with the promo code ProfoWon. You know, again, I'm a straight up, you know, like, you know, when we push a product, it's because I use it. I don't like that. Like, you know, you just pay me and like, yeah, That's like going, hey, I smoke crack. Crack pays me, so it's great for you guys. I use it all the time. Nope, I ain't doing that. I don't care how much. If a crack dealer gave me $1 million to push crack, I ain't gonna do that. You know what I mean? I'm only gonna support products that. Sorry, I'm only gonna support products that I actually believe in. So again, Zim World, CBD, 10% off with promo code ProfoWon. All right. And again, you can follow me on IG. You can see all the workout stuff. After talking to Carl, there will be certain approaches to what I post. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to help you guys a lot, especially if you guys want to like get better at performance. You know, performance and breaking. You know, I'm obviously a practitioner that does it. So for you guys, you know, if I most likely, you know, I looked at my demographic. You guys are from 25 to 35. So you guys I got years on you. I got about 20 years on you. And if it works for me, my methods work for me. That's pushing 50. For you guys are going to excel. All right. So you could, you know, so I'm out here on YouTube. You can basically count on me posting every Monday. It could be a vlog. It could be a live. It could be I Am Niche podcast. That's another thing that I do out here. I Am Niche podcast, a Gen X perspective where I rant, rave, and complain about everyone younger than me. Boomer talk. You know what I'm saying? Even though I'm Gen Xer, that's boomer talk. But today, again, this has been the trades talking about the direction. Now I came up with that real quick. Direction of competitive breaking. It's more like this podcast has been more about like the objective, the things that the crowd looks at objectively in breaking. But that was too long to put. But it does formulate with performance. I should have put that. But like, like I said, was already gonna react to like different battles, but I was like, nah, this is better, because like when I saw that audience at Breaking the World Games, like, no, this is what they're seeing. They don't know what they're looking at, but they think it's really dope, and USA won. Again, shout out to Victor, shout out to Jeffro for Victor for gold, Jeffro for silver. Shout out to Sunny in the women's division for breaking for silver. Good stuff. Nothing but a bright future, guys. Nothing but a bright future. And I'll have more episodes about Cypher stuff, and we can talk about that. What are we going to do for the guys that just like to Cypher? We'll talk about that too. Again, follow me at PROFO_FLGZ on Instagram. And again, subscribe here. It's been a good show, guys. Just want to put this out there. Sorry for being late. I apologize. Peace. I'll see you guys later.